thank you everyone for giving us this opportunity to present this project and experiment to you. Obviously, this is something we're passionate about, and we're grateful for this chance. My name is Emil Levov, and in addition to being a fervent IETF contributor, I love this organization just as all of you, even though I couldn't make it to Hawaii. I'm also the founder and current project lead of the Jitsi.org project, which is a community of projects that solve various real-time communications problems. And today, I'm going to present you some of these projects that we have deployed for the IETF, hoping that they might make our lives easier here and help us do better work and create better protocols. So with no further ado, real-time communication on IETF meetings has really been present for quite a while. I know that Henry Zinrai has been telling me even the first meetings in the 80s and late 70s used to have some sort of remote streaming. And today we, I believe, have converged around several tools that help us with remote participation and sometimes virtual meetings. Those tools do a pretty good job. I'm personally a Meet Echo user. For example, I've joined several meetings already in Honolulu using Meet Echo, and I'm grateful to the Meet Echo team. But we believe there are certain use cases that are not currently addressed by neither of these tools, and that could help us all do a better job at the IETF. So obviously, many of you are also using things like Hangouts or Skype or regular phone conversations when it comes to just meeting and discussing various drafts or problems or organizational stuff. But we think we may have something that people could find potentially more convenient. So because with all of these tools, we keep stumbling in certain scenarios. Either we need to ask for reservations, or we need to make sure that everyone who is going to join is going to have a username here or an account there, or we are frustrated because the maximum number of participants on this specific system, on any specific system, is not many, and we end up fighting, especially for the ad hoc scenario where you just want to meet with people and talk in between meetings in an informal way. You just end up struggling with formalities, and collaboration goes at the background. So what if we could have this tool that doesn't require any reservations, doesn't require any accounts, doesn't have limits on participation, and allows us to just concentrate on collaboration? Obviously, it would even be better if we could actually be using protocols when doing that we design at the IETF mechanisms and utilities that we create here, and potentially even make them better in the process. So again, the idea is to use a number of existing utilities like Etherpad, for example, use things that we are very familiar with, like text chat, have the possibility to share our screens, use video collaboration, and all of that without any hassle. So this is what we believe we have now deployed at jitsi.tools.ietf.org. This is an installation of an open source project, and every component here is open source. The name of the front end that we're currently using is Jitsi Meet. There are other tools in the background. There's Jitsi Video Bridge. We're also using the Prozo, the XMPP server, the Nginx web server. But all of the components are open source. The application is based and uses WebRTC, technology that we co-designed with the W3C at the IETF. And one particular aspect of it that we find very important is its scalability. There are a number of techniques that we have implemented and that we hope would provide us with ways of having meetings with up to 100 participants. The audio quality that we are experiencing with Jitsi Meet is really very high. We use the Opus audio codec designed and developed at the IETF. And the video quality is, for the most part, perfectly satisfactory, very good. And actually, that's a matter of configuration. We can even have HD quality if we so chose, because that's, again, a matter of configuration. So a few important aspects here. Currently, the system requires the use of Chrome, Chromium, or Opera. The WebRTC features that Jitsi Meet and Jitsi Video Bridge rely on are currently only available in these browsers, but we are working with the Firefox community. The Firefox developers are currently implementing these same features. I'm referring to multi-stream support, and hopefully we would be able to have support for this for Firefox as well by the end of the year. You can also use this application on Android with the standard Chrome browser, although currently we don't have an Android-specific interface. That would probably happen at some point next year, and we hope to be able to provide an iOS native application around mid-2015. At least that's the current plan. It might happen earlier if things change in a favorable way. So what is it that you can do with this tool? Really, the most convenient use of Jitsi Meet is that of ad hoc design teams. You can just gather on a specific URL with a number of people. You don't have to worry about who has an account where, and you have an ongoing video conference. But again, this is not really about the video conference. It comes with utilities such as Etherpad. I believe many IETFers would find that very useful. I know we have in the past. It's extremely productive when trying to agree on text and when writing drafts. As Bernard once said, the combined usage of video conferencing and shared document editing is much more useful than the simple sum of the individual usefulness of these two tools. So I know that I have personally found it extremely convenient, and hopefully so would you. This system, this Jitsi Meet application and Chrome allow you to share your screen. You can share either individual windows or your entire desktop, which obviously gives you the option of sharing slides or other applications, and that can also be helpful in design meetings. Now, another use case we believe can be very convenient with Jitsi Meet is the organization and holding of virtual interim meetings. Now, there are a number of features here, like, for example, what we call last N, the possibility to only see the last N active speakers, so that in a meeting of, let's say, 100 participants, you're only seeing the last 6, which obviously lowers the bandwidth requirements for you and for the infrastructure as well. We also have things like simulcast and that sort of stuff, and I'd be happy to detail the technology more in the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So this is something that we're still working on. Most of it is already committed and usable, but it might require some tweaking. So at the end of this presentation, I hope we'd be able to discuss the possibility of any of you guys volunteering for a virtual interim meeting for your working group with a Jitsi Meet in the near future. That's something that we would like very much. Now, how does this work exactly? How do you use Jitsi Meet? Well, it really is very simple. Well, unless you actually have to deal with an audio-video system that turns out to be challenging. But if you're just joining, creating a conference room from your home, then it really is trivial. You just need to go to jitsi.tools.ietf.org and type a name that you would want to use for your meeting. We expect that a very convenient naming convention would be to just use your working group name. That wouldn't require you to do any reservations. You just type your working group name. For those of you who are interested in the technology, that would actually automatically create a Jabber chat room on the Jitsi Meet XMPP server. And anyone who joins would basically join that Jabber chat room. Anyone who joins the video chat would be part of that chat room. The moment that the last participant exits the chat room, it is destroyed. And it does not exist until the moment that someone else joins. So we might consider in the future the possibility to, actually we will probably consider in the future the possibility to actually make it possible for some people to have reservations, to make reservations and to protect certain URLs. For example, the chairs of IETF would likely like to make sure that this room is available to them. But actually, what we have found out is that this is really much less critical than one would expect. And you could really, in the most cases, have productive meetings even without the possibility of making the reservation. It certainly makes the entire setup a much less stressful experience. And obviously, in addition to just using your working group name as the name of the conference, you can just enter anything. Again, there's no, the rooms would just be created on the fly, so you don't really need to worry about any of the naming. I see that a number of people are joining the conference already. It would be great if we could keep that part for the end of the presentation so that we don't completely destroy the Wi-Fi in the room. And by the way, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the presentation, if anyone wants to interrupt me at any point with questions, just go to the microphone. I would be very, very happy to answer. So again, when you go to this, URL to jitsi.tools.ietf.org, and you can actually directly type the URL of the room that you're looking for. You don't need to go get through this welcome page in order for the room to be created. Again, you won't need any account, and none of your co-participants would need to have any account. We might again add the possibility in the future for some cases to actually have accounts in order to protect certain features or aspects of the collaboration, but that would probably, again, we don't think this is this is an extremely critical feature. Now, once you're into the conference, the first participant to join a room becomes the moderator of the room. This is currently a mere consequence of the fact that we don't have any accounts, so the person who organized the conference is obviously considered to be the organizer of the conference, and they get to be the boss of the conference. Anyone who then joins the room can be moderated by that participant, by the first participant. They can be muted or kicked out, basically. For any other participant, including the organizer, but all other participants would have access to a certain number of features. Obviously, it would be possible for everyone to mute and unmute their microphone, to stop and start their video based on whether or not they want to be actively involved in the conversation, or just lurk around and see what progress is being made. It is possible to lock rooms. So note that in spite of the ad hoc nature of these channels, it is still possible to have private conversations. You basically get into a room, you click on the padlock, and you set a PIN code that you then just need to make sure you send to everyone else, and you have a protected conference where only you and the people who you want would be able to join. We also have obviously there's a Jabber chat room at the background here used for all the signaling, so we have we use that chat room for chatting as well. That's actually extremely convenient. People in these conferences often exchange links or comments while someone is presenting. So obviously that's something very useful, and it's not only available in Jitsi Meet. So I most of you would agree on the usefulness of chat. There's the Etherpad we already mentioned. Again, very convenient, very useful, and especially useful when combined with this video conferencing experience. You keep seeing the thumbnails of everyone involved while you're editing. You can see people frowning when you're changing text in a way that they don't like. It really makes it it's hard to explain, but it really makes it a more human experience, and much nicer to be a part of. Obviously, much more productive as well. And of course, there's the possibility to share slides. There's the possibility to share your entire screen or just the window. This is a feature of Chrome. I believe Firefox would also have that feature once we are done with implementing the interoperability support. Now, there's one interesting aspect here. While you need no plugins in the browser in order to get to this stage, sharing your screen would require you to install a plugin, an extension. Now, this is not a real extension. It is exactly 30 lines of JavaScript code. It is not native code that would run into your browser and do God knows what. It is really 30 lines of JavaScript code that are downloaded from the Google Chrome store, and the only reason for having them there is to guarantee their security and to make sure that there's control on these things, and that people won't just start streaming your screen and sharing your banking details with everyone. So once you install this extension, its only role would be to obtain the permission for desktop streaming from the user, and from then on, everything will continue happening into the JavaScript application. There's also a contact list. Note that this is a feature under development, so we hope that this will be stable by the end of the year. But having a contact list basically allows you to see who is in the room. This is not something you need in small conversations. So if you have a design team meeting of 4, 5, 6 people, you would be seeing the thumbnails for everyone. So we don't really care that there's a contact list. But once you start hitting 30 or 40 participants, well, obviously we would only be showing a subset of them in thumbnails and video, and everyone else would be available in the contact list. Right. One feature that we currently have, and that is not, how should I say that, made very convenient at this point to IETFers, is the possibility to make SIP and PSTN calls. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this just in a few minutes, but we do have the technology. It's obviously open source, just as the rest of the project, and it is possible for participants in a room to make calls to PSTN phone numbers. Actually, it is possible today for participants in a room to make calls to any SIP URL out there. So you could, as long as you're the organizer of a conference, you could just enter a SIP URL, and that person will be connected. As long as their SIP domain allows federation, supports federation, that person will be connected into the call in audio only. For the time being, but still that would be precious. Making this possible and widely available to chairs for PSTN is basically a matter of agreeing who would get the SIP accounts that we will be using for this thing. Again, I'll say a few more words about this in a minute. Now, we part of the reason for having this presentation here was to hear people, to hear what you guys find important, what you guys think is missing in this system, and I'd be happy to hear that in a second. Before we go there, I'll just give you a brief overview about the things that we are currently planning and the things that we're currently working on. So the scalability features that would allow you to basically have large-scale meetings with up to 100 participants are pretty much in. We have a few glitches that still need to be fixed. It's basically a matter of UI adaptations. And we hope that this will be available and usable on gtl2.idf.org by the end of the year. We're actually pretty excited about this. Then there's also the possibility to do YouTube live streaming and hence recording, YouTube recording. So this is something that that might require human intervention. Until we automate it, obviously, but to begin with, the first meetings that would request this would probably require some human intervention for us to set it up and make sure that everything is going as planned. But basically, the idea is that a YouTube streamer would join your conference. This would be a bot, basically, that would take the videos of everyone, mix them, and then send them to a live stream on YouTube where everyone else would be able to watch either live or later the YouTube recording. That would probably be something quite useful. It is another feature that we hope to be able to have by the end of December this year. I mentioned already, I talked a little bit about ZIP and PSTN calls. One thing that I didn't say is the fact that we are currently experimenting with Michael Richardson from the NomCom. We have a few phone numbers set up for NomCom meetings, and this is something that we still test a little bit more and see how things are working there, see how convenient it is or it isn't, and see if we can come up with a way to make that available to all working group chairs. There's also support for Mozilla Firefox. As I said, this is an ongoing collaboration. There's hard work at the Mozilla Firefox community on implementing support for multiple streams. We've been waiting very patiently for that feature, and we're very happy that it's finally arriving in Firefox. We would be among the first to use it. This is something I already mentioned. And again, there's an iOS native app and a custom Android interface that are probably arriving before mid-2015. So this is the plan. This is what we have. And at this point, I'd like to extend an invitation to all the chairs here to, if any of you are interested in experimenting with a virtual interim meeting hosted on Jitsi Meet, that is something that we would be very happy to assist you with, as long as you're patient with us as we go through the first steps. It's something that we hope to make painfully easy in the future, and we hope to make sure that it won't require any human intervention. It would be just as the rest of the conferences here, but for the time being, it would be best if we're around to make sure things go as planned. So if this is something that is of interest to you, please let us know. We would be very happy to work on that. And I believe that at this point we're reaching the end of my presentation. I would be happy to take questions and have a discussion and just hear what you guys think about this.